Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great. It was a great way for us to finish. You know, we played well we played well in Phoenix, played well in Austin. Just didn't play that great coming down the stretch in those two tournaments. The last 9 holes really hurt us, and so we got in that same position again. But this time, you know, led mostly by James and John as well. Those guys had a really hot stretch in there, and Gavin and Victor played very solid to maintain where they were at. So yeah, to see him get in that position and then close it out was real impressive. It was great for us to see, and we needed it to win the golf tournament, but it ended up letting us win in pretty, decisive fashion. So that was good. A great way for those guys to finish the Mountain West Conference season. You're in great shape, but I mean, at that golf course, nothing's done until it's over. I mean, you've got to hit a great tee shot on 18, and really, even then, you still have to play the rest of the hole well. It's a hard finishing hole. 17's tough because it was windy. So I mean, anything can happen. If we'd have not birdied 15, which is a downwind par 5, if you don't make a couple birdies there and maybe you play 17 bad and run into some trouble on 18, anything still can happen. So I would say, once Catlin and Victor and Gavin kind of get it safe off the tee and are basically, not going to have a disaster on that hole, then you kind of know it's pretty much done. But I mean, there's guys, I mean, you can have a team make a few doubles on that hole and a team make a few birdies, and all of a sudden you can make them 9 shots real quick. But I mean, that's, be a pretty unusual situation, but you still got to, that's the great thing about that course, is you do have to finish well. And we have been close. We've been close, I think, 2 or 3 times there, been in the mix with, 5, 6, 7, at least the back 9 to go. And haven't been, we haven't gotten it done. There's been a lot of great teams though. So, UNLV's always good. TCU's had some awesome teams. Back when BYU was in the conference, they had good teams. And then San Diego State has played great the last 4 or 5 years. So not getting it done over there doesn't mean you're not doing your job. Sometimes you play pretty good and don't get it done just because there's some other great teams there. And it was nice to be the one on top at the end of the tournament this time. Well, yeah, there's water left, water right. So the safe way to play that hole is to, get it in play, but with something other than driver. And for a lot of people this year, we've got some long guys, so driver was actually the right play. But even then, if you hit driver and you get it over the right water, you still can be behind trees. You still sometimes have to work pretty hard to make 4. If you hit a 2-iron or 3-wood out in the fairway, I mean, you're in play, but you still may have 185 to 220 yard shot in the green, and the green's elevated and it's got a lot of slope to it. So it's just a really good, solid finishing hole. And 17 was really difficult too. They had the pin up front, which is the narrowest part of the green. Wind's coming into left to right, and just a hard golf shot. So yeah, they had to execute well down the stretch, and they did. Well, he's been flirting with that kind of round for a while now. I mean, he's been hitting the ball really well. Hasn't really had a great putting round in a while, and I can't remember the last time. Probably Vegas. I mean, he putted well in Vegas, obviously, but really he's kind of struggled. Hasn't putted poorly, just has struggled getting the ball to go in the hole, and that'll mess with your confidence a little bit. And sometimes the hole starts looking smaller, but he finally got it going. I don't think he made a ton of long putts in the final round on Sunday, but got it going. Birdied 8, 9. 10, 11, and then birdied 14, 15, 16. So it's nice to see, him kind of have a round where things really go his way. Not that he's supposed to shoot 65 every time, but he knows, and everybody who knows his game knows that he's capable of shooting numbers like that. And all it takes is somebody like that. All it takes is to make a few putts or hit a couple close, and just kind of get that momentum going in the right direction. And that's what he did. And he's not afraid of that. I mean, he's not afraid of being way under par with a chance to shoot a great round. He just hasn't gotten himself in that position as much as he's probably capable of. And sometimes you just have to be patient in this game. And you work your butt off all year long, and you're working all the right things. And you're getting better at it. It just sometimes it takes a while for the results to actually show themselves to you, and it did for him. And he's gonna have a lot more rounds like that in his life. It's just the more he works at it and the more times he does it, the more situations he'll be in like that, and he'll continue to do that for us and for himself when he leaves. Well, yeah, I mean, those aren't specific goals that we set out. I mean, we certainly want to play as well as we can all year, and then when we get to conference, I mean, the guys definitely play well and have a chance to win that tournament. Just like going to, Ohio State next week, our guys want to be ready to play. They want to play their best and give themselves a chance to advance. It's nothing we talk about during the year. I'm sure it's something that people think about a lot during the year. But to have 4 guys, I mean, some great things with those awards. Number one, having 4 guys out of the 10 players on our conference team, that's a tremendous accomplishment. It's never been done here, and we've had as good a teams at this school over the last 50 years than, as anybody else in the country. So to have 4 on one team, one season is an incredible achievement. And then to have James be recognized as Player of the Year is certainly great to see, because he deserved it, and I don't think there was much question that he would get it just because of the year he had. But you never know until the votes come in. So that was satisfying for me, just to see that we all know he's worked hard, he knows he's played well, he knows what he's accomplished, and we all know what he's accomplished. But something like that, just for him to be recognized by the coaches in our conference, I just think it's, an extra, it was icing on the cake, a little extra special deal for him. And so yeah, that was great to see. Great to see those guys get that recognition. We know it's a great golf course. It's been redesigned since the last time I was on it. We were there in 2002 at the NCAA Championship, and I just remember it being a great course. You can't fake it around there. You've got to hit quality golf shots. You got to get it and play off the tee. You got to pay attention to where you leave it around the greens. You can't, if you short side yourself there, you can have a difficult time getting up and down. But I remember it being in great shape, and just having a lot of quality holes on it. I know they redid it a little bit, maybe did something with the greens or added some tees. I'm not 100% sure the differences, but James did play it last year in US Open sectional qualifiers, so he remembers it being a great course. And the Nationwide Tour, it always has one of the best fields and one of the biggest purses on the Nationwide Tour. So you see some of the best players on that tour play that event every year, and DJ actually won it in 2010 there. But the scores aren't ever crazy low, so there's just they play it later in the year, so conditions could be a little bit different. But I just know it's a great course, and it's one that's going to demand our attention, from start to finish. So it'll be a great challenge. Our sport has just gotten more and more competitive over the since I started playing, certainly back in the 90s, but even since I started coaching. And so last year we really didn't play that bad, and you missed by a shot. And James's first year, same thing. We really played pretty good, so missed by a shot. And so you just, every little thing matters at that tournament, because everybody is playing, playing like it's their last tournament, and they're leaving it all out on the golf course. And so you just have to go and take care of business, and you just have to play well. And but you're right, nobody gets in by accident to that tournament. It's always a good field. You have to play good no matter where you go, which site or where it is or what the course is like. You just got to play good. And it doesn't matter if you've had a great year or if your team has struggled throughout the year and you just kind of barely got in at the end. No matter who you are, you have to go play well. And if you do that and you got a good team and you play well, you're probably going to have a great chance to advance. This time of year is always a little difficult to stick to our routine, just because we have finals, and so that messes with schedules. But I think we're doing a pretty good job. We had 2 guys were done Monday night, James and Ben. John's been pretty much done all week. He had a couple little things to turn in. So our 3 seniors have had a pretty free week for the most part. They have graduation today and tomorrow, so a couple new things kind of going on with them. But Gavin and Victor, they're fine. They've done it. It's the same thing they do all year. You're always getting back from a trip and getting ready for the next one. That's always a time when things are a little bit different. But yeah, I feel good. I've been struggling a little bit at conference, but we know, and that guy's played so much great golf this year. I feel like when we get to a golf course like that, where the shots are probably a little bit more defined for Ben, and there's definite trouble and definite shots you have to hit. It really grabbed your attention, and we feel like Ben's going to play a lot better in Columbus than he did in Tucson. And the other guys, they're all going to be ready. And this is the tournament. This is the tournament that people look forward to all year, because this is the first round of the NCAA tournament. And if you play well, you get to move on and have a chance to compete at the championship site. So, they're going to be ready and into it and excited. He's a big guy. This has been our lineup since the Tucker. So these guys have played a lot of great golf together. And every one of them has played a great tournament, won many times, individually. So this is definitely a good team, definitely a great group of 5 guys, and they'll have a chance to play great in Columbus.